Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. Earlier in the week, or actually I think it was a little bit longer ago, about 9 days ago, Jeff Kaplan posted on the forums regarding role queue once again. Now role queue has taken on many forms in the discussion, and I wanted to actually talk about this back then, but a lot of other things came up, so I didn't really get the time to. So I'm revisiting that now instead to address two different things. One, the latest version of role queue in the sort of discussion around role queue. That seems to be the most relevant one. And then two, which things around that might still not be perfect. And the reason as to why I want to bring both of these things up is because keeping this discussion going, I think, is the only way to really see any change over time. So let's get into it, starting off with first what Jeff Kaplan said. He posted on the forums just 9 days ago saying, if we did role queue, we would do separate SRs. This is one of the things I think would be really fun, plus make the game way more balanced and improve matchmaking. Alright, so let's break that down. This would mean a separate queue where you pre-select your role of either tank, damage, or support. You would then have to be locked to only picking heroes in that role, and you would have a different SR based on which role you selected, and probably just have 10 placement games for each role. Now obviously that's quite a major overhaul because that affects the SR calculator overall, the career profiles, the matchmaker, and just the game as a whole. This was, I think, first brought up together with Jeff Kaplan on Emonk's stream that he did from Blizzard HQ, and Jeff came on for a bit and said he really liked that idea, and that's what he'd been talking about internally himself. Now, a system like this would also create some more questions and some more decisions for Blizzard to make before anything would be able to be put into place. There's obviously the PTR to try things out on before you just fully push it, but details such as, are you then just having to force a 2-2-2 composition of characters? Does that do more harm than good? A lot of heroes within those different roles are also very different. For example, if I select tank as a main tank player and then I'm put together with another main tank player, maybe we don't have a person that's good at playing something like Zarya or D.Va to help out there. That might also be a problem. How specific do you have to be there? And more importantly, would this have that type of effect on the game that would feel like it limits the players more than it actually helps having better games? All are very tough questions to answer, and I think Jeff Kaplan would agree with that as well. And I know we keep saying on this channel, just put things on the PTR, just try things out there, but even putting in a system like this before they've really thought it out on the PTR might give the wrong sort of idea to the player base. Say they want to try out a forced 2-2-2 to begin with, people might kind of panic a little bit about that and feel like that's a bit of an odd step from the developers to just begin by forcing a 2-2-2 in their role queue. In addition to that, Jeff Kaplan has himself said that queue times for DPS players would be quite a bit higher. So if you play any damage character and you have a role queue system like this, the damage role would probably have to queue for a bit longer. Personally, I feel like that's kind of to be expected, and I've seen a lot of players on Reddit commenting about this, saying that honestly that can be fine. If you have to wait maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if you're queuing a bit poor hours and as a DPS player, you could just do something else in the meantime in that queue. There are a lot of games that have those types of situations if role queue is involved. I really hope the dev team pulled the trigger at some point throughout this year, maybe not with this exact version of role queue, but something along those lines of a system that creates more structure, that revitalizes and changes the core game. Alright, so with that out of the way, I want to get a little bit more personal with my experience with Overwatch. So I know I mentioned recently that I've started to play Hammond, and sure, I'm not the greatest Hammond player, but that's still a tank character that would go within the tank slot. Would he go within the off tank or main tank or some other type of tank slot, or maybe even a more DPS style slot? I'm not sure, but with something like a role queue, would I be judged on my Reinhardt and Winston level and people would expect me to play that, but then I queue up for tank and I want to play Hammond? My SR with Hammond is obviously not nearly the same as it is with Winston or Reinhardt. I have hundreds of more hours on those characters compared to Hammond. What if Reinhardt and Winston are just like not meta anymore at all and Hammond is the only way to go? So whilst I think it's good that Jeff, for example, has drawn the parallel with World of Warcraft group finder system, the dungeon finder, Overwatch is very different, but that's not to say that you can actually change things there at the core of the game. Maybe some of the characters have to be redefined into new roles. Maybe you have to add quite a bunch more tanks or supports and change up some of the different damage characters in the game to make all of this work. But being in this limbo of yeah, we kind of want to do role queue and the community kind of want to do role queue, but we don't really know what to do. It's just getting pretty frustrating at this point. We've been in this discussion for maybe 2 years now. I remember just a year ago actually, where Jeff Kaplan was talking about role queue more specifically about details, and still over that entire year we've not seen any change. Sure, we have the group finders type of system in Overwatch now, but in general LFG is just not the way to go. It's clearly not really working, and daring to instead work with the core of the game and change fundamentals, I think is something the Overwatch developers have to start getting used to, because that's how longevity for the game works. Lately we've had such great response from the developer team overall, and I really hope this continues. So let's keep staying active on the Battle.net forums, because clearly we've got a good thing going right now in terms of dialogue, so let's not let that go. Alright, that's basically all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've personally been enjoying Overwatch actually quite a bit more recently by playing heroes like Hammond or just trying out new characters really. To be completely honest, I'm just so bored of playing Reinhardt. I've played him for like 3 years. I'm done with that character, I think. But yeah, I hope this video was enjoyable. Until next time though, take care and we'll see you guys then. Bye bye.